I have a large collection of arcade games. I wonder how much money it would cost me to complete all of them if it was a real arcade. Only one way to find out. Avenging Spirit is a hidden gem among arcade games. A fast, frantic platformer with a mechanic not seen in many games. Developed by CP Brain, Avenging Spirit is a game that makes murder and possession fun. You play as a ghost who is on a quest to save his girlfriend. In order to reach this goal, you must possess the bodies of your enemies in order to maintain your connection to the world of the living, and using that very body to fight its once friends. For those of you who are regular viewers on my channel, you will know that I live streamed this before, but if you didn't see it, or don't want to see it, then maybe consider sticking around to see what this game is about. The plot is... well, let's let the game tell us what happened. One day I was walking with my girlfriend, when suddenly I was attacked. Ah! Pang. And then I died.
Shakespeare of our time!
When you start the game, the dialogue does get better, for what it's worth. It turns out the father of your girlfriend was a ghost scientist, because of course he is. He has summoned your spirit and explains that your girlfriend was taken ransom by an evil secret society and are demanding his ghost research for her safe return. Unwilling to give in to their demands, he sends you out to go and save her, using your new powers of personal space invasion. At your first moment of control, you're introduced to the main mechanic of the game. You can possess any of the 4 enemies below. Each one functions differently and has different attacks and skills. Once you make your choice, you are told you only need 2 buttons: jump and attack. Slaughter your unsuspecting villains, and then it's on to the first level. The first level wasn't too difficult. If you choose a character with a ranged attack, that shoots straight forward. The variety of enemies in the game is pretty decent. You get your basic enemies like the mafia men, ninjas, and street fighting girls, and then the more unusual ones like the gunmen that can't stop jumping, wizards, a swami? Okay, I'm willing to accept wizard and swami because ghosts are a thing in this world, so it's not a surprise magic would be. But where the fuck do dragons just like small children fit into this world? The ranged enemies are superior choice to the melee ones, as touching an enemy even if they aren't attacking hurts you, so too often melee attacks end with an exchange of blows, costing you health. A lot of the enemies are unique, but there are the odd palette swaps. Thankfully though, they are only visual, and they have their own set of attacks too. At the end of every level, you encounter a boss. The bosses are one-trick ponies. They only have 1 or 2 attacks and just need to be whacked until they die. You can beat the majority of them on your first try if you spend about 10 seconds to watch and observe their patterns. In an arcade setting, you'd be thankful because an easy boss means you don't have to spend as much money. But in terms of game design, the bosses are disappointing as they don't feel like bosses, just a tougher enemy. After you defeat the first boss, you discover a map that informs you that you need 3 keys to open the room where your girlfriend is being held. So if you want to find those keys, you need to explore everywhere, in every level, in order to make sure you don't miss one. The problem is, there isn't one in every level, and this is where I have my first issue with the game. The game itself isn't too difficult. Shooting all the enemies with ranged attack helps a lot, but a lot of my deaths weren't from being overwhelmed with enemies, but spending too long in an area triple checking every little dead end for keys. As you explore, environmental hazards will eventually hurt you, or an enemy might get a cheap shot in while your attention is focused elsewhere. Even though it was a map you found, there is nothing to tell you if there is one on said level, which is kind of what a map is for. That's like me holding a map up of how to get to London and it says, somewhere in the south. Speaking of death, let's talk about the HUD. The HUD is effectively simplistic. You have a life bar of your current character, a spirit bar for the ghost, high score, and the 3 key silhouettes. Most of it is instantly understandable, but the spirit bar may need a bit of explaining. When your current character dies, your spirit is ejected from the body and you need to possess a new enemy in order to carry on in the level. The longer you spend as a ghost, then the more the bar goes down. Once it empties, you ascend to heaven. The bar also empties a bit when you take a hit while possessing someone, and that's a bunch of horse bollocks. You can collect vials of spirit energy to fill it back up, often though you only find it in piss weak amounts, so it might grant you an extra hit. Probably not though. The boss for the second level is so easy, I only got hit once and survived with a smidgen of health. Just walk back and forth to avoid the crane, then hit the cockpit when the shield isn't there. Thank you, Spirit, for destroying the base, but your girlfriend is in another base. Level 3, fighting on the rooftops. The level designs are very simple, but not in a good way. A lot of the same assets are reused to construct the levels. The designers really like iron-girded towers. They are in every level with colours swapped every now and then. Part of me wonders if it's symbolic of an unfinished game. The levels are also quite cramped too. Even the levels that are outside have a claustrophobic atmosphere to them, because of how thick all the surfaces are probably, and how often you are attacked. The levels are also pretty short if you're running straight to the end, but even if you take the time to look for another key, they don't feel that much bigger or even longer to play. Really, there isn't much variety to the levels. There just seems to be one or two visual features that are different per level, like level 1 has a blue sky, level 2 is indoors, level 3 has Chinese restaurants. If you are paying attention to level designs, it gets dull pretty quickly. But it's only a short game, so I can't complain too much about it. I had my first loss to a boss here. I ended up stuck with a melee character before I got to the boss room. I was a little lucky because it was one of the most useful melee characters, the baseball player. He can hit back projectiles with his bat, including yours. Learned that the hard way. So he's useful for this boss. The problem is he can only hit things back there in line with his bat, so anything that's just above or below will give you a cheap death. When you die in a boss zone, it's game over because it uses your spirit bar rather than your life bar. If you continue, you respawn as the same character and keep fighting. You can imagine how much money this takes from you if you have a character you don't use very well in a boss zone. Level 4, the token sewer level, with the cleanest sewage I've ever seen. The game starts taking a slight difficulty spike here. Every enemy attack seems to do more damage, enemies will start to swarm you in bigger numbers. You will also find yourself in situations where having the wrong character can get you killed because that character has the wrong set of skills to deal with the situation. It's not so prominent in this level though, but it does get more prominent as the game goes on. Boss here is a tricky bastard. It emerges from the water and spits at you, then rains itself down from the ceiling. You can avoid this attack by looking for the spot where the slime isn't, but you have to hope your character is fast enough to get there in time. Level 5, and I call this one the paranoia level. It looks like any other level until you reach the warehouse, because the level begins to branch off on different paths. And since we're looking for a key, thoughts of worry start to enter your head. What if you can't find it? What if you've missed it? What if it's a red herring? It also doesn't help that some of the rooms in this level are hard to go through unharmed, especially since you can't clear a room of enemies and they will just constantly spawn off screen. Not only that, but the stupidest things will start to hurt you now. That tiny little flame hurt me? I can understand when it's like this, but that? What cockend designed that to be a hazard? Thankfully I found the key pretty early, so that's one less stress now. I just got to survive the endless enemies and death traps in this maze of dead ends while making sure the third key isn't in this level. Fuck this level in the arse. The boss for this level isn't too bad. The imagination of the creators was beginning to decline here though, because it's a Cyclops on a flying worm body. Really? Guys, you can do better than that, surely. It doesn't even have attacks, it just vaguely flies towards you and gives you an opportunity to hit it in the head. Admittedly I died to it, but only because I had to turn around mid-jump to hit it. And when you jump, the momentum takes you in whichever direction you're facing, so I had no choice but to jump into its head, to smash it in the face. Before you get to level 6, you have a strong premonition that your bay is on this level. You also spot a bit of graffiti on the wall that almost looks like an incomplete hate message. The level starts with a cheap shot from the AI. Fuck you, you little cock gobbler. This is one of the longer levels in the game, and it's a shame that the game only has 3 20-second loop songs for the whole game. Catchy as they are, they do get very annoying eventually. If you are paying attention in this level, you'll notice these letters that spell Ghost. Standing on them activates them, and fills up this super secret neon sign you reach by crossing the super secret invisible bridge so you can enter the super secret room where the not so secret key is hidden. With those collected, it's time to force my way to the end of the level. Just got to deal with the fucking insane amount of enemies and bullshit traps it's throwing at me now. If you do have enough money to get past all this shit, you do eventually reach the door that requires the 3 keys where it dramatically counts your keys. Where inside is your love of your life. I can meet you? What do you mean I can meet you? If this this is your girlfriend, I think you have met her at the very least. The game came out in 1991, phones weren't advanced enough for couples to ignore each other yet. So now that we found her, we do what any good rescue would do. Get inside her. Is that her cum face? So for the rest of the game, we're playing as the girlfriend, who is one of, if not the most, powerful character in the game. She has a gun on her wrist, she got from somewhere, so how she let her get herself in this position I don't know. Her gun one-shots all standard enemies and she has a powerful ass jump. She has no life bar but it takes away from the spirit bar. Technically that gives her the biggest life bar in the game too. Long story short, she's one bad bitch. On the final boss, and as expected, it's the boss of the evil secret society, using a flying bird machine of pain. Like the other bosses though, he's quickly predictable. Avoid the homing rockets, and the grabby crabby claws, and while using your laser gun, which tears the fuck through him by the way, and he is defeated. Then, one of two endings plays, depending if you saved your lover or not. In the live stream I got the bad ending. The base explodes and you weren't able to find and can only hope she got out alive, as you pass on to the next life miserable. This time, I got the good ending. You both escape and you get to say goodbye to your girlfriend as you both go to your grave. Technically though, aren't they both good endings? Sure, she might have died in the bad ending, but I'm dead too? Can't we just meet up somewhere and enjoy whatever the ghost life is like? We could even go and haunt the arseholes I didn't kill in the levels. Where's the downside? In conclusion, Avenging Spirits is a unique and enjoyable game. The difficulty can get frustrating as the game goes on, and you probably won't play it more than twice, but even if you just play it once, it will be entertaining. I would recommend trying it at the very least, and if you want to try it, you can get it on the 3DS, the iPhone, and for you fellow retro fans out there is a Game Boy version. And that was Avenging Spirit. Join us next time when we'll find out what it'd be like if Michael Bay made a Ridley Scott film.
Thank you.